Welcome back to Morning Joe, 8:42 here on the East Coast. Joining us now, Democratic presidential candidate, Senator Kamala Harris of California. Senator, good morning. It's always good to see you. We all sat together. You visited us in a restaurant in Miami after that first debate where there was some confusion about your position on health care. You clarified that you misunderstood the question that night from Lester Holt. So let's just, for a lot of people watching, particularly on this network, who may be seriously considering voting for you, just where you come down on the spectrum, sort of from the Elizabeth Warren Medicare for All corner of the party to sort of Joe Biden's more moderate idea of improving the Affordable Care Act. Where do you put yourself on that spectrum?
I appreciate the question, so thank you for that. I've always been for Medicare for All, but Bernie's plan is a good plan. I support it, but I thought we could do better. So I came up with my own Medicare for All plan. And it's pretty basic. We're going to bring down costs. Everyone will be covered, including people with pre-existing conditions. But we are also going to give people choice. Because, Willie, I've been hearing from people, and people have said resoundingly, wherever they live, whatever their race, and frankly, whatever their political party, they don't want choice to be taken from them. So my plan offers that people can have either a public Medicare for All plan or a private Medicare for All plan. And then we also have the ability for people to have a longer transition period, because I've talked to our friends in labor, many of whom negotiated lower wages for better benefits with their health care plan, and I didn't want them to have to give that up. So that's the difference. And, you know, in terms of this distinction between my plan and the vice president's plan, my plan would cover everyone. And by the vice president's plan, its own description, 10 million people would not be covered under that plan.
One of the fears I think a lot of voters have is they hear that headline, and Senator Klobuchar, your colleague, made it again last night, made this point that 149 people under the Medicare for All proposed, not by you, but by Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, 149 million Americans would lose their private insurance. Can you say to those 149 million Americans this morning, you can keep that private insurance under my plan?
Well, what they will have is that private insurers have the ability to compete in my plan, and the individual is going to have choice, and they're going to have the ability to make the choice about whether they want to go with a private insurer or a public insurer, and that's exactly what people want. They want to have that kind of choice, and I want to give it to them.
But there is a chance if I have private insurance and I enjoy my private insurance, it could be taken from me?
Well, your insurer is going to have to compete. But here's the thing, Willie. What's going to happen also under my plan is your private insurer is no longer going to be able to charge you copays and deductibles. People in America right now are paying anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 deductible for their insurance. They don't want to do that. What they want is they want to keep their doctor. They want to know that their employer is not dictating, and that their insurance company is not dictating the kind of coverage that they receive, the kind of tests they can have. And under my plan, we're going to really put a stop to that, but we're also going to get rid of copays and deductibles. Your private insurer, if they have the ability to compete, they will be in the plan, and you can choose to go with them. But I think what you really want is you want your doctor. You want to know that when your doctor wants you to have certain tests, that the insurer is not going to tell you you can't have them, and that's what my plan will offer.
Hi there, Senator. It's Karine Jean-Pierre. I saw that you had tweeted last night that in a 3-hour debate, ABC missed an opportunity to talk about women's issues. Can you be more specific about that, what you were wishing that you were able to discuss on that stage last night?
I mean, there's so much, Karine. There's everything from choice, which, you know, listen, I've been traveling our country. Yet again, women's access to reproductive health care is under full attack in so many states in our country. You look at a state like Alabama, where that legislature has passed a law that would criminalize and incarcerate a physician for assisting with a woman's exercise of choice. And that discussion needed to happen. When I talk to women across this country, and again, regardless of where they live, regardless of their age, their race, it is a huge issue. And women are concerned because women rightly know that with these restrictions on their access to reproductive health care, you know, there are women who will die, and in particular, poor women and women of color. It's a very real issue. It should have been brought up last night. It wasn't. I'm glad we're talking about it now, and I intend to continue to talk about it. And then there's a variety of other issues. I have a plan, for example, to address the issue of equal pay. In 1963, our country passed legislation recognizing that women were not being paid equal to men for the same work. So we passed legislation saying everyone should be paid the same amount for the same work. Fast forward to the year of our Lord 2019, women are paid 80 cents on the dollar. Black women, 61 cents on the dollar. Native American women, 58 cents, and Latinas, 53 cents. I have a plan that says we're going to change that. We're going to put the onus on corporations to pay people the same amount or they'll be fined.
Senator, I want to ask you about guns. You, along with a number of the other candidates, but you especially did a great job last night really talking about the impact of gun violence, what you've seen firsthand. I would venture to say that Americans are with you on this. The polls show they want change. The issue is getting it done in Washington and getting Republicans who don't seem to see what Americans want. How are you going to be able to impact change on this issue differently? Because it hasn't been able to happen. I mean, Barack Obama struggled with this, and we couldn't get the change that apparently Americans are looking for. How will you do it differently?
No, you're right, Mika, and that's why I have said, and I'm fully prepared after being elected, to give the United States Congress 100 days to pull their act together on this and put a bill on my desk for signature. And if they do not, I am prepared to take executive action and do three things. One, put in place a comprehensive background check requirement. Two, put resources into the ATF to take the licenses of gun dealers who violate the law. And you should know, 90% of the guns associated with crime are sold by just 5% of the dealers. So we need to just enforce our laws and take their licenses. And then three, by executive action, I'm prepared to put a ban on the importation of assault weapons into our country. Because to your point, the failure here is not the failure of good ideas. There are a lot of good ideas. My friends on the debate stage have a lot of great ideas, which I support. The failure is action and the failure of courage. And so if Congress doesn't act, I'm prepared to take executive action, because every day in America, during the course of that debate last night, 8 people, statistically, would have died from gun violence. So it's a very serious matter. It is affecting people in real time every day, and we need to take action.
All right, Senator Kamala Harris, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks,
we
Joe.
greatly appreciate it.
Thank you all.
You know, Willie, if Kamala Harris had given that answer a year ago, 2 years ago, I would have talked about the constitutional problems with it. But this is exactly what conservatives warned about when Donald Trump declared an emergency because he couldn't get what he wanted through the United States Congress on an issue involving far less deaths than guns. The next Democratic president is going to be able to declare an emergency just like Donald Trump, whether it's on guns, whether it's on abortions, whatever it is on, because Donald Trump did that over an issue that, again, was responsible for far less deaths than, let's say, guns.
And use it as a point of leverage in a negotiation, really, as well. And we saw, Claire, last night, Joe Biden pushing back on this idea of executive action, despite the fact President Obama used some of it himself, saying, we do have a Constitution, guys. You still have to work with Congress. I know it looks ugly and it looks impossible. You can't get anything through the Senate. But he was sort of the lone voice on stage saying, we don't want to be like Donald Trump and just use executive action to get the things done we want to do. We still have to respect the Constitution.
Well, and that's really the issue. Is there anybody left in Washington that is going to respect the founding framers of our Constitution? You know, it's a check and balance. We all learn about it as we grow up. And there is a reason that we have so much compromise required in our country. It's because of our Constitution. But right now, both parties are kind of going all in. Well, if we can't do it the way the Constitution says we have to do it, we'll just do it anyway. And that is such a slippery slope. Donald Trump is by and large responsible. Barack Obama did executive orders and the Republicans went crazy. But now this guy has gone to a whole new place on matters of appropriation, which is absolutely embraced in the Constitution as requiring congressional action. So I do think this is dangerous for us to now all of a sudden willy-nilly say, we don't need Congress for anything. We just have a dictator.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree. Still ahead, quote, I want more focus on Trump in this debate. That was the take last night from Ed Luce of the Financial Times. And Ed joins us next on Morning Joe.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.